This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, we almost made it through the week, Ironhead, without any technical difficulties. Almost. Just a minor snafu. We got through it a little late. We apologize, but we're not going to let it ruin our week. What a week. What a spectacular week. Where to begin? Donald Trump wrapping up his trip through the Middle East. Just an amazing, historic trip. This would be the best week of Trump 2.0 by far. Let us review the ways. Trump announced a deal with Saudi Arabia for $600 billion invested in the U.S., a deal with Qatar of over $1 trillion, a deal with UAE for hundreds of billions of dollars. In total, Trump secured over $2 trillion in investments from 3 Middle East nations, according to Caroline Levitt. He made war much less likely. He said we are close to a deal with Iran to assure that Iran will not get nuclear weapons. Big deal to us, to them, to Israel, to everybody. No one wants Iran to get nuclear weapons. That doesn't look like it's going to happen. He freed the only living American hostage, Edan Alexander. The boys on Pod Save America are giving him credit for this Middle East trip. Democrats in Congress are giving him credit for this Middle East trip. And yesterday, as he said, as he was preparing to head home, he announced that his daughter, Tiffany, had a baby boy, Alexander Trump Bullis, or whatever her last name is. She's Marla Maples' daughter, and she just had a baby. So he's going home to see his 11th grandchild. It's hard to imagine how it could have gone any better. This week could have gone any better for Trump. Even the Trump haters are throwing up their arms and say, man, that was a success. And people are from the Biden administration are anonymously telling Axios that they wish they could have worked for a president like that. They wish they could have done things like that during Biden's 4 years. But of course, that was impossible because it wasn't physically, mentally. I was thinking about this yesterday. What would have happened if Biden even attempted this 4-day whirlwind tour of the Middle East? I'll tell you what would have happened. It wouldn't have worked. You know why? Because he's beholden to these fringe special interests. He would have gone to these oil-rich countries and said, we have to do something about climate change. And he would have mentioned LGBTQ rights in the Middle East and women's rights, and he would have insulted them, and they would not have felt like they have a real partner in the United States. It would have been a colossal disaster, just like everything else Joe Biden did. We're done with climate change. We're done with pandering to the far left and trying to export our way of living to these people. Instead, Trump just showered them with praise and told them he loved them. And that's what they responded to. He showed great strength, talked about our great military, did an appearance at our big military installation in Qatar, the biggest in the Middle East. By the way, that was a gift to us from Qatar. And that was a gift worth many, many billions of dollars. Unlike the plane they're going to give us for $400 million, which I've decided is fine. Take the plane. It also forced the hand of Boeing, which really cashed in on this trip as Qatar ordered 210 new planes from Boeing worth $96 billion. We'll see if they can crank those out in time, unlike Air Force One, which has been delayed for years. I believe 7 years we've been waiting for a new Air Force One. Trump got impatient and decided to take the gift from Qatar, and good for him. And the week just gets better. Yesterday, if you haven't heard, a story just erupted. And it is, and I have to say, we're going overboard with this story. Yes, we're taking it a little too far, but that's okay. And I'll explain why. James Comey, the disgraced, disgusting, corrupt, lying former FBI head, former director of the FBI. It's almost impossible to believe this guy ran the FBI. He headed up our top law enforcement agent. And this is just one example of what a deranged, unhinged lunatic this is. How he ever got into that position of great, great power, a position he abused over and over again. That guy, who is now fabulously wealthy and apparently spending a lot of his time on the beach, according to his Instagram account, that's his happy place. He's on the beach and he plays with shells and he takes long walks in the sand. Yesterday, James Comey made this little message with shells on the beach. It's very simple. It says 8647, 8647. That means kill Trump. There's no other explanation for it. You could say it means, he just wants to defeat him. That might have worked 5 years ago. It doesn't work now because you can't defeat Donald Trump. He's not on the ballot. He's not running again. You can't impeach Donald Trump anymore because Republicans control the Congress. We saw what happened when that crazy Michigan congressman tried to introduce articles of impeachment. He was laughed out of the halls of Congress. So those are no longer possibilities. James Comey can't say, yeah, I just meant beat him in the ballot. I meant defeat him in the next election. That doesn't fly. You can't say you want to impeach him. That doesn't fly. The only explanation for this is you want him dead. That's it. And he knows it. So he posts this message, throw that back up there again, post this message on Instagram from his little beach, wherever it is. And he writes, cool shell formation on my beach walk. And he wants you to believe he just stumbled across this. That is a lie. In the past, he's done other things with shells. That's his beach. He made that message. He photographed it. He posted it. And he thought he was being cute. He thought, this is just our friends on the left, our friends in the mainstream media, they'll love this. This is just being mischievous. Well, you can't do that when you're talking about killing the president. The Secret Service, the FBI takes these things seriously, and he knew it. He knew he stepped in it. By the way, I believe he deleted his Instagram account. But before he did, he posted his apology, his mea culpa. And he writes, I posted earlier a picture of some shells I saw today on a beach walk, which I assumed were a political message. I didn't realize some folks associate those numbers with violence. It never occurred to me, but I oppose violence of any kind, so I took the post down. All right, this guy is an inveterate liar, and that includes about 5 lies in it. He didn't stumble across this. He made this message. We know that. He knew what it meant. He's just consumed with hatred for Trump, like many on the left, and didn't see anything wrong with posting a threat to Donald Trump. He knew it, and then he deleted it because he knew it. So he lies in that post, which to me is reason enough for Secret Service, for the FBI to pay him a visit. Is he going to go to jail over this? Probably not, but I don't care. He needs to be brought in for questioning. In fact, they need to pay him a visit, if they haven't already, at 5 a.m. They need at least 20, 25 armed FBI agents. They need to kick in the door like they did to many, many J6ers, like they did to Roger Stone and Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon and Donald Trump. They need to search his home. They need to raid his many, many homes. They need to bring his relatives in for questioning. They need to question him under oath. And if he lies, they need to charge him. Simple as that. I don't think they're going to charge him with threatening the president's life, but, we'll see what we can find. Call it, I don't know, a perjury trap. He was famous for setting up perjury traps. Indeed, he did it to Michael Flynn, Trump's director of national security initially, he knew what he was doing. He knew Flynn did nothing wrong. This is the architect of the Russia hoax. This guy is more corrupt. This guy is slimier and dirtier than you even imagine. I got Kash Patel's book, Government Gangsters. A lot about Jim Comey in this book. None of it good. He is the swampiest of swamp creatures. Again, when you read here about what he's done, it's hard to believe he's never spent a day in jail. It's hard to believe he was ever appointed FBI director. Trump fired him, but he should have fired him on day one. Here's Kash Patel. Is this last night? Yes, last night. He tweets, he posts, "We are aware of the recent social media post by former FBI Director James Comey directed at President Trump. We are in communication with the Secret Service and Director Curran. Primary jurisdiction is with the Secret Service on these matters, and we, the FBI, will provide all necessary support." Good. Kash Patel knows all about James Comey. Nobody knows Comey better than Kash Patel. But to review, he was one of the people, along with Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Susan Rice, who coordinated in the White House before Trump took office. I believe it was 5 days before Trump took office. He told Obama and Biden about the Russia hoax, about the P tape, about Trump colluding with Russia. They all knew it was fiction. They all knew it was made up. And then they spent the next 3 years trying to prosecute the case, which they knew was made up. That's how dirty this guy is. That's how slimy he is. And if you ever hear from him, see him do interviews, you could tell he's constantly seething with hatred for Trump. He hates the fact that Trump won and his side lost. And this is him just acting out, saying 86-47. He was director of the FBI. He's a former Marine. He knows exactly what it means. And lots of people have tried to look into the origins of 86-47. The best explanation I heard was it came from the mob, whom 86 meant they were going to take you to the top of the Empire State Building, the 86th floor, and throw you off. It means kill. Everyone knows that. Everyone's read a novel. By the way, we'll get to the conspiracy theory because James Comey is a novelist and he's got a novel coming out. But the idea that this should just be laughed off and let's just let him, let's just criticize him and move on. I'm sorry. That's not how this works. I voted for retribution. I'm not afraid to admit it. I sat through for 4 years the weaponization of the federal government. I watched them raid the homes, armed FBI agents. I watched them raid Mar-a-Lago. We know what they did. And he was the guy who did it. This is the guy. So we got him. We got him. It's time to make him uncomfortable. Just a few things to remind you of here. You know who Douglas Mackey is? Douglas Mackey's a guy who made a meme mocking Hillary Clinton voters. He joked on social media that election day for Democrats was like Wednesday and not Tuesday, and they could text their vote. It was a joke. He was being a little mischievous. He spent 10 months in jail for posting a meme. 10 months. J6ers, hundreds of them, who did nothing, who hurt nobody, who broke nothing, had their homes raided, their lives ruined, spent months, if not years, in jail awaiting trial. We're not given fair trials. We know that. We've gone through it. This guy enjoyed every minute of it. He loves the weaponization of the federal government against Trump people. It's his favorite thing in the world. Here he is posting this and then cowering, saying, "Oh, I didn't know what it meant. You are a liar. You're a scoundrel. You're a scumbag, and you deserve to be at least questioned." And we will see.
Yeah, that excuse could work for a lot of people, but not a former FBI director.
Yeah, and we know he knows. We know he lied when he said he didn't know. We know that. We've seen these numbers a number of times. People have posted it. I went to a protest, one of these anti-Musk, anti-Trump protests in Boston a month ago, and I saw 3 or 4 signs with this message. Gretchen Whitmer has this on her desk, 8647. But this is different for a couple reasons. I believe Whitmer had it years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. This is different for one. There's no other way to explain eliminating Trump other than killing him. And 2, he's had, some real serious threats against his life. In the last 9 months, 2 people have tried to kill him, at least 2 people. Now, we don't know much about these 2 assassination attempts, one by Thomas Crooks in July, and then Ryan Root, that lunatic outside the golf course in West Palm Beach, who was working with Ukraine. By the way, this is a topic for another day, but Ryan Ruth was trying to acquire weapons from Ukraine. He wanted to get a missile to kill Trump. Ukraine knew that and didn't tell us. If you want to know if Ukraine would like to see 4786th, just like Comey, I believe they would. But this guy prosecuted many, many people for lying to the FBI. Michael Flynn ruined his life for lying to the FBI, set it all up, bragged about it. Flynn didn't have a lawyer. He thought he was just chatting with the FBI, and they set him up and they ruined him. Again, he met with the whole Biden-Obama team to orchestrate the Russia hoax. He's the guy. I don't care if he's going to go to jail. I want him to be made uncomfortable. I want them to pursue this. We can't have a 2-tier justice system. We can't have Biden, Obama, and them, that whole crew, putting Trump people behind bars, arresting them just to make their lives miserable and break them and bankrupt them. That's what they did. And we've been waiting 110, 15 days for the arrests. Okay, here's a guy. Let's arrest him. Who cares what the media says? Who cares what the Democrats say? They're going to accuse Trump of weaponizing the justice system no matter what. Clearly, they did that. We've seen it. We have hundreds of examples. It doesn't matter what he does. They're going to accuse him of it anyway. Trump must pursue this. Kash Patel, Sean Curran must pursue this. He must be brought in for questioning. He must be charged if he lies to them. And you know what? I think it's going to happen. I think they're going to go through with this because there's a lot of people who belong behind bars. This is number 1 on the list. This guy is a scoundrel. He's worse than you think. And he's arrogant, and he's just so sleazy. Trump was asked about this morning, I believe, or last night. It just came out this morning. I believe he talked to Brett Baer from the UAE, and they released his comment on this. Here's Trump talking about his mortal enemy, James Comey, stepping in it yesterday. Go ahead.
He knew exactly what that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. Now, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant. And he did it for a reason, and he was hit so hard. Because people like me, they like what's happening with our country. Our country has become respected again, and all this. And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he wasn't calling for violence. But
look, he's a very
what
bad,
do you want to
look,
see happen? What do you want to see happen?
I don't want to take a position on it because that's going to be up to Pam and all of the great people. But I will say this: I think it's a terrible thing. And when you add his history to that,
yes.
If he had a clean history, he doesn't. He's a dirty cop. He's a dirty cop. And if he had a clean history, I could understand if there was a leniency. But I'm going to let them make that decision.
Good answer. Let them make that decision. He is a dirty cop. That is clear. Here's the amazing thing. I mean, I don't like Joe Biden. I think I've made that clear. I don't like Barack Obama. I think he did great damage to this country. I never wished them dead. I mean, I never wanted someone to take a shot at Joe Biden. I think it would be really bad for the country to have a president assassinated. And by the way, I think if he's assassinated, J.D. Vance becomes president and pursues the same policies. They just have this visceral hatred. Is there any doubt that James Comey and so many of the people on the left, Liz Cheney, Dick Cheney, is any doubt that they would celebrate if the next attempt on Trump's life is successful? I don't think we've ever been in this position where the resistance is so unhinged. I mean, we played you Springsteen yesterday. We've heard from Robert De Niro and Rosie O'Donnell. There's just something about Trump's personality, Trump's approach, that pushes them over the edge to the point where they don't want to defeat him. They don't want to change policy. They're not even talking about policy. They're talking about the man, and he drives them literally insane. This is insane where we are right now, where these people are disappointed that Ryan Ruth and Thomas Crooks failed, and they're hoping for better luck next time. That is a dangerous place. They are sick. These people and we're talking about, the crazy people in Congress, the Jasmine Crockett's and Ayanna Presley's. We're talking about the blue-haired old ladies outside the detention facility in New Jersey, the people in D.C. protesting, screaming about tyranny and authoritarianism. They don't know what they're talking about. They can't see straight because they hate Trump so much. In a way, I look forward to J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio serving in office, because what are they going to do then? I mean, they hate those guys, but they don't drive him to this point of total insanity the way Trump does. I say this all the time when I argue about politics and Trump. I say, let's talk about things he does and not what he says. Let's talk about his policies, not his personality. And then they have nothing. What are they going to do? Say, oh, those Middle East deals are terrible. I don't like the closed border. I don't like lower taxes. They just can't get past his personality, his approach. They look at him and he's boorish and he's vulgar and they come unhinged. And if you asked Bruce Springsteen or Robert De Niro, just tell me what he does that drives you so nuts. James Comey, what does he do? What policy upsets you so much? And they can't do it. They just go to, oh, but he's crude and he's loud and he's a rapist and he's a felon and he's a tyrant and he's a Nazi. Okay, good. He's a Nazi. What does he do? Not what does he say? What did he do that caused you so much pain? And they got nothing. Again, I have confidence because all Trump's team, all the cabinet, all the people around Trump, they all know what Comey is. They all know he's a deranged, dirty cop who did everything in his power to put Trump people in prison, to ruin Trump, to bankrupt them. And I think they know that they have to do everything in their power to make him to pay for this. Let's do Tulsi. Tulsi last night was asked about this. Tulsi was great. She's smart. She's articulate. And like everyone else, like Vance and Hegseth and Caroline Leavitt, she is a fighter and she knows what she's up against. She knows what kind of dirty, corrupt man James Comey is. Here she is asked if she would like to see Comey convicted and imprisoned. Check it out.
Believe Comey should be in jail.
I do. Any other person with the position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be, I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.
That is spectacular. No, we're not playing around is the message. We're not playing around. We're not playing politics and saying, oh, we're not going to weaponize the DOJ. That's what they did. That's what they did. Wasn't that long ago. Anybody in Trump's orbit found themselves on the FBI's radar. And I'm sorry, but that's the way it works now. And hopefully we get a shot sometime today of Comey in handcuffs. Hopefully he's brought in for questioning for, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 hours. Hopefully they search his home. How about this one? How about they take his devices? You know, they did like they did with James O'Keefe, because someone gave him Ashley Biden's diary. They took all his devices. How about they comb through James Comey's devices? See if he tweeted or texted something similar to that. Let's hope Trump gets 86th. Again, his troubles have only just begun. Let's make him uncomfortable. By the way, there is a conspiracy theory out there. I heard a lot of people tweeting at me saying this was all a setup because he has a novel coming out. Apparently, he's a novelist. He's got a bunch of novels that nobody reads and nobody buys, but he's going to go on a book tour next week. So he did this intentionally to get attention, to get publicity. And normally I'd say that's nuts. But again, you have to understand something about Comey. He's insane. He is really, really unhinged. So maybe it's true, but it'll be fascinating to see him go on this book tour and go on MSNBC and CNN, New York Times, see if they ask him about this. He is such a snake. By the way, his daughter is prosecuting P. Diddy right now. Apparently that's not going well. And his son-in-law is a prosecutor prosecuting the Abbey Gate terrorist who murdered 13 Americans. I think they should be brought in for questioning too, because when Donald Trump was the target, they didn't hesitate to bring in Don Jr. and Eric Trump for the made-up Russia collusion hoax story and put them through the ringer for hours and hours under oath. So I think his family members should be brought in too. But we will see. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a great way to cap off a great week. Seeing James Comey in an orange jumpsuit, please don't hold back. Don't worry about what the media will say. Don't worry about what the Democrats will say. This is justice, and they want to call it retribution. Fine. I got no problem with retribution. All right, we got a lot to get to on this Friday, the end of a spectacular week for Donald Trump and for the United States. It really was. It really is. We will keep an eye on the stock market. Inflation is down. I'm telling you, it's going okay. It's going okay. Sorry, Bruce. Sorry, De Niro. Sorry. Things are going pretty well. We will get to we got some crazy congressmen. That's what we do. I have the craziest of all, Ayanna Pressley. She wants you, if you're not black, to give her money. Yes, that's how she's spending her time in Congress. That is how your Democrat congressmen are spending their time, some of them right now, making the case for reparations, the most insane, unjust policy idea that's ever come out of the Democrat Party. And we will jump into the Karen Reed trial, which, as far as I can tell, blew up yesterday. It's over. Can we just be done with this and let her go? When that happens, this story gets even more fascinating, because then they have to prosecute the people who framed her, which will be even wilder. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Is the U.S. dollar in trouble? We're living in unpredictable times with digital currencies on the rise, a $35 trillion national debt, and inflation still at a 40-year high. Tesla billionaire Elon Musk has warned that the U.S. dollar is heading for destruction and that these factors could bankrupt the U.S. Financial experts are urging Americans to prepare right now. That's why you should strongly consider physical gold and silver to help protect your accounts like IRAs and 401ks. Preserve Gold is giving away a free precious metal guide that contains essential information on how to help protect your accounts. Just text the word Newsmax to 50505. Learn how you can put physical gold and silver into an IRA or a 401k, and even purchase precious metals for delivery directly to your home. Preserve Gold has hundreds of 5-star reviews and millions of dollars in trusted transactions with satisfied clients. As an exclusive offer to our listeners, in addition to the free guide, you can also get up to $15,000 in free gold and silver with a qualified purchase. So don't wait. Text Newsmax to 50505 to claim this exclusive offer from Preserve Gold today. We know what Donald Trump has been up to in the last couple of months. He's been working nonstop, 24/7, flying around the globe, trying to make peace, free hostages, close deals. Let's check in on Congress. What have they been doing? Oh, let's see. The majority, the Republicans, are doing nothing. I believe they've got 5 bills to Trump's desk. One of them is about renaming Gulf of Mexico, which is fine. They're not codifying any of these executive orders into law. They're not doing anything about Doge. They're doing nothing. They took today off. You know, that we've showed you. Some of them are taking naps during their hearings, and they're just doing nothing. Republicans, Democrats, on the other hand, they're trying to impeach the president, which is a joke, and they're pushing the most insane public policy idea in American history. Yes, they're still doing this. Reparations. We've talked about this many times, but I mean, where to begin? These are people who were never slaves, demanding people who were never slave owners to give them money because of one of their ancestors from a couple of centuries ago. It just, on its face, is absurd. Even if they had the money, the idea is absurd. I say this all the time. You know, they want to be paid back. They want to be made whole. In their civil war, there were 618,000 dead. It was devastating. Every family lost a son, a father, if not more. 360,000 Union soldiers died to free the slaves. They want the people whose ancestors died in the Civil War, freeing the slaves, to pay people who came here 10 minutes ago because of their skin color. Representative Summer Lee, another lunatic squad member, said you don't have to prove that you're an ancestor from that you're a descendant of slaves to get reparations. Anyone black, that's all. You just have to be black and you get money. So somebody whose family came here, 20 years ago from Ireland or England or Sweden has to pay Oprah Winfrey or Barack Obama, who is not a descendant of slaves, or Kamala Harris, who's not a descendant of slaves. In fact, she's a descendant of slave owners. But you have to pay her because something that happened 200 years ago. It's the craziest idea. And if it were coming from the faculty lounge at Brown or from the green room at MSNBC, you'd say, the guy with the Q-tip head said, you'd say that's nuts. It's coming from Congress, people who are supposed to be making law, who are supposed to be trying to make your life better. This is my congresswoman, a completely deranged racist. Everything she does is about race, is about, black versus white. That's all that matters. She doesn't care about constituents. She doesn't care about the conditions in her district. I mention this all the time. When they invited in hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens, they took over a rec center in her district in Roxbury, kicked out all the kids, and gave it to illegal aliens. She said nothing, not a word about it. She's okay. Illegal aliens are the top of the food chart in her mind, but she's also determined to make the case for reparations. And it's just so absurd. Listen to her.
And discrimination against Black people. We are in a moment of anti-Blackness on steroids, and we refuse to be silent. We will not back down in our pursuit of racial justice. The antidote to anti-Blackness is to be pro-Black, and we will do it unapologetically. The United States government owes us a debt, and we need reparations now.
What? I mean, that's a congresswoman. A congresswoman. That's my congresswoman demanding reparations. The United States government. We fought a war. We paid this debt in blood. to free her ancestors. And even if we didn't, why do we owe you? I mean, this country's done a lot for you. You know, you've done okay for yourself. You're like Michelle Obama. You've done okay. You got a pretty good life, and you want money from the guy, you know, the plumber fixing your toilet should give you money because somebody 200 years ago had a slave. And they never mention the role of the African people in grabbing, kidnapping your ancestors and selling them to people, not just America, to other countries, what about them? Do they owe you money? Descendants of slave traders? Should they give you money too? It's just, the whole idea is so silly. I at least we can take solace in the fact that it'll never happen, that everybody knows it's madness. But that's how my congressman is spending her time. Just comical. All right. We got to move so I can get to Karen Reed. Yes, we're finally going to get to the Karen Reed trial. It is just, I mean, I have one question. Maybe you can answer this for me, Ironet, or maybe the chat line, someone can answer this for me. Why are we still going through this trial? Every time I tune in, every time I watch, every time I read about it, I say, how is this still going on? This case has blown up on the prosecution, by my count, 6-7 times in the last week, every day. These are their own witnesses, and they're blowing up the case for them. And yesterday was the worst day yet for the prosecution. And you wonder, how much longer can they do this? What happens when the defense starts calling witnesses? What happens when Trooper Michael Proctor gets called? It can't get much worse, but they're still going through with it, and it's just incredible. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Are you a yo-yo dieter? You diet, you lose weight, you gain it all back, plus a few extra pounds. Then later, you lose it, regain it again and again and again. It's dangerous. You know this. Studies show that you can increase your risk of heart attack, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and other health problems. Breaking free of your yo-yo diet pattern is a main reason doctors created Lean. Lean is a supplement, not an injection, and you don't need a prescription. The science behind Lean is impressive. It's studied natural ingredients target weight loss in 3 powerful ways. Lean helps maintain healthy blood sugar, it helps control appetite and cravings, and it helps burn fat by converting fat into energy. Listen, if you're tired of losing weight and gaining it back, if you want to lose meaningful weight at a healthy pace, Lean was created for you. Let me get you started with 20% off when you enter Newsmax20 at takelean.com. That's code Newsmax20 at takelean.com. It's a good point on the chat line from Crystal. Could they just go back to his reparations? Go to South Africa. They'll give you a farm. It's just so, I mean, the reparations argument is so stupid that you don't even know what to say. It's like Ayanna Pressley wants the United States to be South Africa. She would be happy if someone said, we're going to take all the land from the white people and give it to the black people. She'd say, okay, sounds good to me. It might destroy the country like it did Zimbabwe, but she'd be okay with that. She wants a race war. She wants, I mean, it's literally, I'm watching it right now. Cori Bush is there, who is just out of her mind. Summer Lee, these radical squad members, and they're standing up there, they got their signs, reparations now, and you're saying, what else you got to do? Don't you have some business of the people? Who elects these? I'm telling you, I'm gonna get out of this city, get out of this state sometime, and she's the reason why. I cannot believe I have an elected representative who's just an unabashed racist and a crazy woman. Anyway, I got to calm down and move on. Let's get to Karen Reed. I was hesitant to talk about this because it's just so much. It's overwhelming. It is a fire hose of facts and witnesses and evidence. And we went through the first trial. I thought she'd be acquitted. It was a mistrial. It was almost a conviction, which is incredible. But just a quick rundown on what we've learned in this case. I mean, I'm in this trial. This is the second trial. And I don't think they learned from their mistakes, the prosecution. I really don't. You know, we went through the whole Google search, the how to die in the cold, and they lied about that. And I can't help, every time I watch, I say, a Boston cop was murdered, and there are no cops there. Normally, when a cop is murdered, the cops fill the courtroom. They're not there. Why? Because they know she didn't kill him. They know, or at least they believe, she didn't kill him. And it's just one contradiction, one flaw after another. Yesterday, I mean, and when you make the case for the cover-up, there's so many things I just can't get past. I mean, they got rid of the rug, they sold the house, they got rid of the dog, they filled in the pool. I mean, it sounds like you're covering something up. You got the text saying from Brian Albert to others, I think Jen McCabe and others, saying, hopefully she takes a plea and then so all be over. If not, we have an episode. Well, what we're seeing unfolding in the courtroom is an episode, and it's not going your way. It's not working out for you. I heard Turtle Boy say this. Turtle Boy is the best journalist in New England. He's the reason they're having this trial. He's the reason they didn't succeed in framing her. He's been a bulldog for 2 years now, just exposing this incredible corruption. And he said the only thing they have is the word of Jen McCabe, this unhinged housewife. Beyond that, they have no case. And yesterday, they brought on the medical examiner. You think that'd be pretty compelling testimony, the one who did the autopsy. And she just, casually answering questions, just, to me, just ended the case in conversation. Yes, he wasn't hit by a car. Why are we moving? Why are they continuing this trial? Why? If the medical examiner in a dispassionate tone said there's no evidence that he was hit by a car, then what are we doing here? And what are we doing here? Check out this bombshell moment in the trial yesterday from medical examiner Irini Scordi-Bello. Dr. Bello just kind of told us, we're wasting our time here. Go ahead.
In your you did not include in your autopsy in any fashion any discussion of whether Mr. O'Keefe's injuries were consistent with a motor vehicle accident, did you?
No, I did not.
No. Even though that's what you were told by the troopers?
In fact, there were no injuries consistent with a motor vehicle impact on Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
Consistent.
Did you evaluate it all in your autopsy, whether Mr. O'Keefe had any injuries consistent with a motor vehicle accident? Okay.
I'll allow that. Yes, I did examine his lower extremities. That is protocol in any case of suspected impact with a motor vehicle. So I did examine his legs and I did not see any evidence of an impact site.
Bam. We're done here. We're done here.
We are done here. We move for a directed verdict. Can we all go home now? The medical examiner says there's no evidence that he was hit by a car. Where do you go now? What do you do now? It's just amazing. And there's still people, there's, Alex Berenson on Twitter saying, oh, it's obvious, open and shut case, attacking Turtle Boy. Nobody paid closer attention to every detail than Turtle Boy. And I think he's been vindicated. Hell, his trial, if he goes to trial for witness tampering, will be more suspenseful than this trial. But here's the problem, is what happens when she's acquitted or when they throw the case out? What happens? Then they have to prosecute all those involved in the cover-up, including cops. And what happens then? That's going to be bigger than this. That's going to be more dramatic. That's going to be bigger with the court TVs and the TMZs and the tabloids. This is huge. This is national. All the national shows are bringing on, experts and lawyers and talking about it every night. What happens with the next trial or the next series of trials? This is going to be a big, big deal for a long, long time, but it sure ain't working out.
There was a clip too of someone that works in the courtroom. People are speculating that it was the judge calling David Yannetti, one of Karen's lawyers, an a-hole under her breath. It was caught on a hot mic.
Yeah, the judge is doing her best to help the prosecution, and boy, they need help. But again, they can't just. She's not going to take a plea. That's never going to happen again, and they can't just drop it. Somebody killed a Boston cop, so somebody has to go to trial.
This time around, they had more footage of Canton PD the night that it happened, and Brian Higgins, the ATF agent, who claimed he went there to move some cars around and all that stuff.
And he lied.
Be blatantly lying about the whole thing.
Just like the cop who said he went to the autopsy by himself, and boom, they got a picture of him with Michael Proctor. Who
they're not calling, it doesn't look like.
They're not going to call him? I guess they don't have to.
It's so detrimental for the Commonwealth, and then the defense can just be like, he was so bad at his job they didn't even call him.
Yeah, it's almost like they don't have to. He was asking the medical examiner, Hank Brennan, the prosecutor, did she know that Karen Reed said, I hit him, which is the whole basis for the case. Jen McCabe she said, I hit him. Yeah, I heard that. Like, what? We all heard that. We read that. But she didn't hear her say it. It's just, if they don't have that, they have nothing. And, they have a lot. They all look bad. Everyone was drunk and stupid, but they don't have a case against her. And yet they're going forward. They're powering on. It's just remarkable. All right. We got more to get to on this. I want to get to the Sebastian Gorka moment. It was just beautiful. As you know, I love nothing more than when people call out the fake news. And it's particularly refreshing these days because we know that these people, every one of them, Politico and Axios and CNN and Jake Tapper, we've gone over it. They all participated in the cover-up. They all conspired to cover up the mental condition, the physical condition of our last president. We know for 4 years, we didn't have a president. We had a dementia patient wandering aimlessly around the White House, and what it called for was the 25th Amendment, clearly. If you look at it, that's what the 25th Amendment is for. We didn't have a capable, competent president. He was not lucid. He was not healthy. He was not well. We know that now. Even the Democrats, even the media is admitting it, and they're trying to deflect like Jake Tapper and say, hey, they lied to us. We didn't know, but we have receipts. We've seen it. You're all guilty. They need hearings. They need congressional hearings. They need people under oath. They need to find out who was involved in the cover-up. Does anyone have any doubt that if the shoe were on the other foot and Republicans did this and Fox News and Newsmax and the New York Post were involved in the cover-up, that there wouldn't be the biggest story, the only story the media talked about? Of course, they were involved, so they want us to just move along, and we can't allow that. So Sebastian Gorka, who's now working in the White House, goes to this Politico event in D.C., one of these, I don't know what you call them, symposiums with Politico, and you're supposed to, talk and sound, erudite and discuss and converse and just have, good conversations about the state of the country and the state of the news media. He was having none of it. Here he is, if you're just listening, sitting with the Politico lady, and there's a big sign behind him that says Politico, and they're just having a nice conversation, and he just unloads. This is spectacular. Check it out.
A member of Al-Qaeda If you're a member of Al-Qaeda, you're a terrorist.
How do you know if that they're members of these gangs? What I'm saying
You mean
is,
the tattoos MS-13 on our knuckles doesn't, that doesn't help it?
Those.
Do you have tattoos of Al-Qaida?
The tattoo did not say MS-13.
Wrist?
I don't want to get into that.
Oh, of course it does. It's just accidents that the four symbols represent the letters MS. This is why Politico is a joke. This is why you are gutter press and fake news. That those four symbols that just happen to comport with the letters MS and the numbers 13 don't, in this case, represent MS-13. You're sitting here live defending a member of MS-13. That's why I regret coming here, because this isn't journalism. This is protecting those who hate America. Shame on you. We are saving lives. Sir. Saving lives. How about Maryland fathers compared to Maryland mothers? Like Rachel Marin, mother of 5, raped and murdered and thrown in a ditch. How about Jocelyn Nungare, age 12, raped a mile from her home and thrown in a ditch? It's strange that Politico doesn't do articles about her, that mother, or that 12-year-old girl. Why is that? Why is the MS-13 guy with the knuckle tattoos more important in terms of due process than the lives of 12-year-old girls brutally raped? It's weird that the priorities shift to defending the member of an FTO, but not the children and the women. Dan Crenshaw told me a story once of a 16-year-old girl who was smuggled across this border. The parents paid $5,000 for her to live in America, the land of milk and honey. She ended up locked in a room in New York, raped by more than a dozen men every day for 18 months until she escaped. She went to Dan Crenshaw's office, and I'm no friend of Dan Crenshaw's, okay? He's still got TDS. And that girl said to him, please close the border so another girl doesn't have to be raped by 12 strange men every day for 18 months. It's strange that Politico doesn't cover those stories. Could you tell me why?
We have covered.
No, you haven't. You have not covered those stories. I'd like to see the Jocelyn Nungare, Rachel Marin stories in comparison to the Russia collusion garbage. I mean, let's be honest here.
Let's move on.
You have an agenda.
Let's move on.
That is a keeper. What do you call it? A garbage publication? And he says, I regret coming here. I don't regret that you came there, Sebastian. Great job. He's so right. If you just added up the stories about the Maryland dad, which we all know now is a gang member, is an MS-13 gang, is a wife beater, is a human smuggler, human trafficker. We know he's where he belongs, in Seacot in El Salvador, and they're still demanding they bring him back. There was a protester in New Jersey at that detention. She has a shirt made up. It says, bring Abrego Garcia back to his family, with a picture of his face. That is a deranged, Trump-hating lunatic. And that's what Politico is. That's what they all are. They didn't care. They don't care about that 16-year-old girl. They don't care about Jocelyn Nungare. They care about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. They want him back in the community, and they're not going to rest until they get him back. And I'm going to guess Sebastian Gorka doesn't regret showing up there, but I'm guessing the Washington bureau chief of Politico regrets inviting him. I don't think they're going to invite Seb back anytime soon. All right, we got to wrap this up. You know what I want to do? I want to do that. They're flying the Palestinian flag in Providence this weekend. The competition continues. Who's crazier? Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey. Rhode Island is making their move this weekend. But I want you to finish with speaking of great blow-ups on TV, I want to finish with the greatest single blow-up hot mic moment on live TV ever. It was 17 years ago tonight. But before we get to that, we got any comments here, Ironhead?
Do I start a few?
Oh, let me see. What is BF says? They forgot that there were black slave owners also. That is true. I'm native Choctaw and don't want anything and would never want anything from the government. Well, good. I mean, you're not going to get it. That's the point. They're not going to get it. The FBI should go through all of Comey's social media and text to see if he ever mentioned killing Trump. Wouldn't you like to know what he tweeted, texted to his friends on July 13th when Trump got shot in the head? This is how it works. We get to go through all your social media when the FBI brings you in for questioning. Elise says, who doesn't know that most likely some of the nonsense Doge dug up was simply code for here's $1 million for Ukraine. We need Trump taken out. That is true. We need to know so much more about Ryan Ruth. And he's going to trial in September. His lawyers are trying to get the gun charges thrown out under the Second Amendment grounds, which I don't think that really matters.
Pointed at the president? Yeah, get that thrown out.
Yeah, you should have had the gun. Why does it even? I saw that story. I said, who cares? You're facing life in prison. But he's crazy. He could give up some people. Maybe they could give him, better accommodations if he tells us who his paymasters in Ukraine were. Terry says, silly question. Why didn't they go for reparations during the Biden administration? They could have dropped he could have dropped his auto pen on it. Good question. You know why? Because even Biden, even Obama, nobody takes it seriously. I mean, it's just absurd. It's, again, absurd if some crazy academic at Wellesley College talks about it. Congress people talking about something that, and they're demanding, I think it's 15 trillion. Oh, sure. We'll just sign that away. Here you go. Here's $1 million. Here's $1 million. I mean, it's like the craziest political idea you could ever have. And yet on our dime, they're pursuing it. They're actually talking about it like it's reality. But all right, that will do it on this Friday. What a week. What an awesome week. And I feel like it's going to get better. It really is. Yes. As we say goodbye, we're going to leave you with the greatest hot mic moment in TV history 17 years ago tonight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we'll do it again Monday morning.
That's tomorrow. And that is it for us today. Okay, I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not right on the teleprompter. I don't know what that is. I've never seen that.
No, there it is. We are going to do Sting, yeah.
Okay, but now I can't read it. There's no words on it.
Okay. Sure.
There's no words there. To play us out. What does that mean? To play us out.
Sting is going to do. It's a video. Sting video.
What is
for credits?
I don't know what that means. To play us out. What does that mean? To end the show?
Yeah.
All right, go.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it.
Okay. In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a. I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Right. Fucking thing sucks.
In 5, 4, 3.
That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks again for watching. We'll leave you with Sting and a cut off his new album. Take it away.